Hi, you guys. So I wanted to come on and to bring some YouTube junk in the middle of everything else I have to try to, catch up that I wanted to talk about. Um, I think this happened a couple of days ago because I believe the interview with Too Short was over the weekend, and he interviewed with a podcast called Big Facts, and I believe they're on Revolt. But you can watch the interview here on YouTube on their channel. And so I'm over on Oshay Duke Jackson's channel, and he is saying, oh, who is, Too Short is the wrong person. Pretty much, I'm just summarizing what he said. Actually, let me show you guys like a little mini clip of when he was trying to say, and this is for fair use. Um, that I'm using this is only 1 minute, and then I'll come back.
Sad music. The last thing you want to do to get a hoe to hoe for you is to be super hateful. You gotta finesse it. So you calling women hoes, Too Short? So you want to be super hateful, but then want her to hoe? You're being misogynistic in that comment, dog. So what is it? So basically, what should he do? He should tell them what they want to hear, so they can hoe, or tell them the truth, which you consider to be hateful, but you're not describing what about those conversations were hateful because you don't know what you're talking about. And it's interesting because guys like Too Short, they were, shout out to Dr. T.S. Johnson, they were the black man's first red pill. Because Too Short and guys like NWA and Ice Cube and Uncle Luke, they were describing something about black women, certain characteristics in society that, we couldn't really, that was not talked about. Everything was women are nice, sugar and spice, and all that kind of stuff. Then we're not talking about the chicks that can get you set up to get robbed, or the chick that's sleeping with your best friend, or the chick that's doing that. See, rap music exposed the dark side of the nature of certain women in the black community. Some certain elements from my moms and things like that. Things that people didn't really want to talk about. So Too Short expressed it in ways that maybe Angela Davis did not want to be shown.
Now, like I told you guys, people are out here blurring lines between what's true and what's not. Um, First of all, anything I say on this channel, and I'm not saying that I'm always right. I'm not saying that my opinion is the opinion of all opinions. I'm just saying this is my opinion over here. But most of the things that I say over here, you can go and look them up. Now, you can go to Too Short's videos and you will see who you see in those videos, okay? Too Short is not, he didn't just become who he is today. He's been that way since what, the 80s or however long he's been doing what he's doing. Because when I was coming of age, guys were already talking about him in LA, right? He wasn't someone who had commercial success. Because of his lyrics, like there was a big fight about lyrics, and he kind of brings up well, he didn't really bring it up, but he brought up Two Live Crew. But even with Two Live Crew, you can go and look at their videos and see who you see in those videos. You do not see black women and out, all these numbers in any of those music videos back then. Now, the only person that I will say, if they were directed anything to black women, it probably was Ice Cube when he said things like "nappy dugout." Child, yes, I just said that. If he says something like that, then yeah, you can say that he was directing that to black women. Okay. Um, but for the most part, they were speaking in general about women. So let's not get life twisted out here. Okay. They were never speaking directly to black women. And you can look at the women that they are with and have been with in their lives, and you can just determine if they're talking to or about black women on your own. Okay. So no, I never listened to any of these people's music and thought they were talking to black women, unless it was something, like I said, that was, you knew from what they were saying that it was directed to black women. And so, when they use the word B and the H word, that doesn't necessarily mean they were talking to black women. So, but that's how people like this can blur the lines of reality, right? By saying things and then just inserting what they want to insert into it to make it what they want to make it. like I said, you could go pull up those videos from NWA, from Two Live Crew, and from Too Short, and you tell me how many black women you see up in those videos. I'm not saying that they're not there, but they're not the only women in their videos, which means that they were directing whatever they were saying to all women. And I'm not saying it wasn't misogyny, but I'm saying it was not totally directed to black women. So let's be clear about that, O'Shea, Duke, Jackson. And to my understanding, you're only in your 30s, so you wasn't even there. So you don't really have you don't even have the knowledge that you think you have on the matter. So cut it out. He's upset because Too Short was in an interview, and I guess he was asked about Kevin Samuels. Now, the interview, while I was watching the interview, I didn't even hear anything about Kevin Samuels come up. So let me say that I just watched the interview. I think what was that, Sunday night? I was watching it, and it was actually a really good interview. And I've seen Too Short in interviews before. I thought it was a good interview based on him, based on his career. The interview is not about Kevin Samuels. You know, I guess they just brought it up because they're talking about men who maybe they were referencing men who have said things that could be classified as misogyny. You know, and yeah, of course, the lyrics, Too Short's lyrics are going to be viewed as misogyny, right? Calling people H words and B words, and saying you would do this, that, and the other to these women. Yeah, you would classify that in that way, and I don't think he was denying that. He also wasn't a big commercial rapper either. He was known, like I said, around the city and around town from the guys who was just listening to him. And then he had some songs later on that had commercial success, like Blow the Whistle and The Ghetto, and a couple other songs that were more on the commercial side. But for the most part, people don't know Too Short from the radio and from video shows and all that stuff like that, right? You have to be a real hip hop person to really know him and know what he was talking about. And he was never directing anything directly to black women. Sorry. Um, yeah, like, nice try, O'Shea. Nice try. But if you see a bunch of other women in the video, that's who I would feel that he was talking. To be honest, since I was there, that's who he was talking to. He was never talking to me. I never looked at these guys as if they were talking to me or to women who look like me, because those women were not reflected in those videos. So let's be clear. Let's go do our research and let's know what we're talking about when we're talking. Um, I'm not taking the misogyny off of it. I'm just saying that it was never totally directed to black women for anybody to try to set out and make that sound that way. Obviously, he's not going to clear that up. Well, that was never said to him in that interview anyway. About his music being directed to black women. They said they spoke like they should have spoke in general to women, okay, because that is who they were talking to in general, to women. And it was Ice Cube's wife who cleaned him, and Yo-Yo who cleaned him up. He had to clear up saying that all the stuff that he was saying in those NWA days. And because I'm saying that because Ice Cube was the one who was writing the lyrics for NWA. So when he met his wife, you saw the difference in the way he would handle his music. And Yo-Yo also stated that she let him know that he couldn't say certain things while he was on songs with her, and she was his artist. So yeah, black women, we would speak up for ourselves if that we thought that was the case, and I feel like no, that wasn't the case, O'Shea. So please know what you're talking about when you're talking. And I understand you want to defend Kevin Samuels or whatever, but to be honest, what he said was honest. It was fair. He said, I don't know him. I really don't know him. He said that even in the statement that you put up. You put the statement up. You put the statement up, person over there. Um, you said that he said that he didn't really know Kevin Samuels, and that from what he was hearing, that it was anti-woman, that it was hateful. It was pretty much hateful towards women. And that was an honest, whoever said that to him, they were giving him an honest depiction. of what Kevin Samuels was doing. Not only what he was doing on YouTube, what I discovered, he was on TikTok doing some crazy stuff too. And those women were not approaching him. He was going around to these women's pages, while they're enjoying themselves on TikTok and dancing and, living their free life to live. Talking about, let's see what Big Shirley is doing today. I mean, if that's not hateful, you're taking time out of your life to go around to other people's pages to call them out based on their size. Yeah, how do you define that type of person? Okay. And so you guys are trying to clean up somebody's image who already put themselves out there. That's why people keep saying, live how you want to be remembered. And that would go for Kevin Samuels as well. And since I'm on the topic of Kevin Samuels, I put this in my community tab from PMB. He's, he has a channel here on YouTube as well. And he was saying that Kevin Samuel's cousin is out here. And you can look at the guy. The guy looks a lot like Kevin Samuel. So I do believe that it is his cousin. And he was saying that they don't have his family do not have the relationship with the Black manosphere the way they are trying to put it out here. Because I guess the Dennis Sperling guy is pretending like he's the family attorney or whatever. And I told you guys, he was over there putting all those videos up, collecting all those super chats and stuff. Like, is that really how you treat your friend? Is that really how you treat someone that you really care about that just passed away? Or is it just an opportunity for you to make money off of something like that? Because a lot of people were paying attention to that situation because of how abruptly he passed away. So yeah, a lot of people were paying attention to that story, and so you decided to capitalize off of it. Is that what you really do? Is that tasteful to you guys? Is that what you call high value? And so I was glad to hear the cousin come out and say, we're not attached to them. We're not informing them to go out and speak on our behalf and do all this stuff. And, a lot of people probably were giving those super chats or making donations to Dennis, thinking that he was going to pass that money to Kevin Samuel's family or his daughter. And, I don't really think they will ever see that money. I don't think they will ever see any of it. And he never said he was going to give it to the family either. I'm just saying, if you're out here saying you're doing things out of the love for someone, then that's kind of what people would expect. And so I asked Oshay Duke Jackson the other day while I was on his channel listening to him talk about Too Short. I asked him, why didn't you go to the funeral? And he didn't respond, of course. But in Dennis Sperling's community tab, he was stating that he and Oshay paid for this funeral, which I didn't watch the entire funeral. I only saw a few minutes of it. And when I saw the photo journal, I just wanted to kind of see what they were going to post in there. And of course, they posted, I guess, the ex-wife and the child. Maybe they posted both of the ex-wives. Because I was looking at, because there's also a story out here, well, several stories. I don't know if the ex-wife, the one who was the actress, I think she was the second ex-wife, if she's going to come out and speak or not. But she has a book out. She has a book that's out on Amazon. And in the book, it's like all this poetry about her marriage. And people are feeling that that these stories are directed to Kevin Samuels. And she was pretty much, calling him out and saying about, how dark things was with him. And of course, the financial issues. And that's why I said he seemed very bitter. And I feel like he was very bitter because of the things that went on in his own relationships, his own marriages when he was in his 20s. Because he wasn't in a relationship when he was out here giving all this grand advice that y'all think he was giving out, basing it on stereotypes. He wasn't in a relationship. And like Dwight would say, that's like having a fashion show without the fascists. That's like talking about a relationship without being in a relation. Well, it wasn't like it was. He was talking about stuff that he was not living. Both of his marriages were short-lived. And he said that himself. And like I said, I didn't play the full interview with the wife and Yoda, but she stated that they were not married very long, and he stated that he wasn't married very long to these women as well. So he really was giving advice from a place of I don't know because nobody he wasn't in a relationship. So I mean, I don't know what makes him an expert. He wasn't trained to do this either. I don't know what made him an expert on all this relationship talk that you guys are saying that was so dead on. But I digress. People can believe whatever they want to believe, but I just wanted to clear that up. I never took NWA's, and I used to listen to NWA faithfully. NWA or Too Short or anybody else for that matter that was coming up, DJ Quick, and all those people that was coming up around that same time that I would have been listening to. They no, we never looked at them as if they were talking to black women. Um, First of all, there were not that many. Like I said, you look at the videos, and though you can find any of those videos, you will see you didn't find that many black women in those videos. If you saw one black girl, then you were seeing something. Okay. And so, and then, all of them are colorist. So they tell you what they like and what they don't like. So yeah, was some of the way that Too Short is fall in line with Kevin Samuels? Yeah, it does. And that's what I said. I wouldn't take the misogyny off of it, but whoever told him about Kevin Samuels told him the truth. It was hateful rhetoric, and it was anti-black woman, that was a true statement if they said that. It really was. So what O'Shea is trying to do is paint, Too Short, and I guess these other people that he was mentioning as the same way, when that was in fact not true. Like I said, I don't know if they couldn't put black girls in their videos back then. I don't know, um, because a lot of this stuff, when people were getting record deals, and they had to go through their labels to put music videos and stuff out, and they probably were the ones deciding who was going to be in the video and who wasn't. So yeah, I never listened to them and thought that they were talking about black women unless they, like I said, specifically said something that was directed to black women in general. And it's not like there weren't women who would say things back, because there was, which is another conversation that I'm going to come back and get into about music. Since Kevin Samuels was doing that whole thing about ain't nothing going on but the red, I thought I'd have a little fun with that. So I'm going to come back with that video later on. um, because I feel like there were men and women who were saying things, right? So there's no reason for anyone. I don't know what about that song was, bothering him, but and then, like he said, he liked to use old music so it wouldn't sting. And the lady, she was the one who brought up TLC and Destiny's Child, and so I'm going to touch on that. And when I come back in that other video, but yeah, let me know what you guys think about this in the comments. O'Shea just said he donated the money to the funeral. Oh, he just said that. Yeah, because I was asking him in the comments if he did. Who donated the money? You talking about Dennis Sterling, or are you talking about O'Shea? Because O'Shea is the only one that hasn't really tried to capitalize. I mean, he's defending Kevin Samuels in the videos that I see him putting up, but I don't see him sitting down capitalizing off of this man dying. You get what I'm saying? Like, there's a difference to me, and he's the only one that's showing that level of respect to him. Um, so yeah, the Dennis man is up to no good. I don't. That's it, and that's all on that. You can tell by the way he's handling on that, and he's not the next Kevin Samuels. So we're not even gonna start that conversation, because he don't have no business talking about nobody's weight. He gonna have to drop weight his damn self before he worry about anybody's weight or the way anybody look. Okay, so people are not going to play that game. This time, folks are probably going to get put up off of YouTube if they try to start the nonsense in that manner again, because for YouTube to try to say that they're trying to make all these changes, then they need to stop some of this nonsense and some of this hateful rhetoric that's going on within one race. Just because these people are claiming, and he's not even black, so he definitely is going to get reported if he try. He's definitely going to get reported because he's not black. Okay, he has no business worrying about and he is engaged to a Latino woman who is Latino just like him, and so he needs to keep his conversation in his community. Okay, anything you have to say, keep it over there where it belongs. You have no business in black women's business whatsoever. Okay, and Kevin Samuels had no business in it either, but people feel like because he was black that he had some right to do what he was doing, and he don't. There should not be any hate speech going on, regardless if it's in the same nationality or not. And when you're not black, you have no business in speaking on anyone else, because that is classified as racism. And so he will get reported if people start hearing him say anything that he has no business saying. And y'all can go take that back to him. Okay. And then, like I said, when you guys can go to my video about that conference, a lot of those guys have no business talking about nobody anyway, when you see how they look. Okay. Okay. Go find my video on that Black Manosphere conference. None of those guys had no business talking about nobody. And Kevin Samuels didn't either. But the rest of them most certainly don't. Okay. So there's not going to be no second coming of Kevin Samuels. Y'all find a new route to make some money. Find a new route. Find a new conversation, and you guys really have some real conversations to have. Okay, but the black woman don't need to come out your mouth. You're not even with no black woman, so we don't need to come up in nobody else's conversation about nothing. Who could possibly stand? Oh, yeah, like you talking about because I said that he wasn't in a relationship. Yeah, and we were all saying that when he was alive. Like, the man is not in a marriage, he's not in a relationship. Where is he getting this knowledge from, right? Other than stereotypes. He wasn't speaking from experience, and he really didn't care about anybody getting married or all that stuff anyway. Like, I think Dennis Sperling was the man that he tried to use as the example of his work, right? Like, oh, I hooked him up with this lady, and the lady is from Colombia or something. And I'm not saying nothing on that. I don't care what these people do. I'm just saying that don't have anything to do with the black community. Like, we're not doing that. We're not sitting here taking on everybody's problems, okay, and taking on everybody's conversation. And you're not gonna beat the black woman down over what you try to do for somebody else. Like, you need to keep your conversations in perspective and where they belong in the right communities. Don't come over here with that nonsense. Um, but yeah, like, apparently the wife was saying that it was hard to be in that marriage, and people are assuming that she's talking about Kevin. I see the book on Amazon, but I didn't like review it. I didn't go through to see some of the stuff she was saying. There is a girl that's here on YouTube. She's actually reading from the book, and I'm sorry, I don't remember her name, but I guess if you put it in, like, you search for it, you probably can find it. But she's reading from the book, and some of the stuff the lady is saying is kind of dark. And I think we're all assuming, I guess I'm gonna say allegedly, we're all assuming that she is talking about Kevin. I don't know who she's talking about. I don't know if she was married after Kevin or married before Kevin. I don't know, but she was the second wife, and I believe he has the daughter with the first wife. So anyway, I just wanted to come and touch on that because, and I would say go and watch the interview with Too Short, because it was a pretty good interview. And, instead of him touching on, it was just some other things that Oshay could have touched on from that interview with Too Short than to touch on, that nonsense, because he stated that he really did. If you read even the statement that Oshay put up, he said that he didn't know Kevin like that. you know, he wasn't familiar with him really. And so there was no reason for him to jump on him with that. The interview is a pretty good interview. He talks about his relationship with women. Actually, he talks about becoming a father at, you know, a later on in life, and he was calling himself a granddad dad because most of his friends are grandfathers. I mean, you know, people his age, or his friends that are his age, are grandfathers now, and he's becoming a father for the first time, so he calls himself a grandfather father. I thought that was kind of funny. But it was a good interview. He talks about his relationship with women. So, um, yeah, like I said, I'm not taking the misogyny off of Too Short or his body of work, but sometimes you do have to measure the person, the man, by his real life as well, and not just his art. Because some of these people were saying a lot of stuff, and then they've been married for 30, 40 years to the same woman. So, you know, I don't know. Sometimes art imitates life, and sometimes it don't. Like, we have to keep that in mind as well. Let me know what you guys think about all of this in the comments if you have an opinion on it. And I will see you guys in the next video.